Hey Tube, TCG Check here. Just got back from Birmingham. Birmingham was really good. It was at the UK Expo in the NEC over in Birmingham. There's a lot of stuff to do. It's really good. And probably out of the three regionals that I went to, probably this one was like one of my favourite ones. But I decided in the end to play Drampador Drampa. I was tempted to either go Ninetales or Sylveon. Those are my other two decks I was thinking about playing. But we kind of got to the event really late and we only just made it on time, so I didn't have enough time to really look around, see kind of what decks people are playing. So I just kind of thought I've practiced with Drampa the most, so I just kind of went with that and didn't really have time to think whether to go Sylveon or Ninetales or not. But anyway, I went for 3-2 in the end. I'll go through my deck list and then I'll go through each matchup and explain kind of what happened. So the deck is Drampador Drampa. I'll go through the deck list. I've got 4 Trubbish, basically your main attacker for the late game. I picked the Acid Spray one because discarding the energy, in my opinion, is better than the mill, because when you're attacking with Trubbish, you're kind of in a bad position anyway, and Acid Spray can save you, while the mill one isn't going to disrupt much, so that's why I went for this one. I've got 3 of the Guardians Rising's Trashalanch Dramodor, basically your attacker, and the 1 Garbotoxin Dramodor. This one's just nice to have, just to ability lock if you need it. Because you're already playing a Trubbish, you can play one of these was just nice to have. I think I used it twice in the entire day. But it's a good card to have in general. I play triple Drampa. I was tempted to maybe try a 2 Drampa 1 Tauros. But I wasn't sure what I'd cut for the Ninja Boy. I think now I probably have I know what to pick instead, like what I'd cut. But for that, I just went pure Drampa. It worked really well. I did play Tauros card beforehand, and I played the 1 Drampa, and I found the Drampa to be usually more useful than Tauros, which is why I went to the Drampa variant instead. 3 Lele, extremely good attacker, extremely good ability. Tapu Cure was used I think once in the weekend. It's just an extremely good card in general. I teched in the 1 Sudowoodo for the Ray matchup. I thought the Ray might have been seen like the odd time, so the Sudowoodo was going to help. And it can disrupt a little bit in some of the other matchups as well, because having 1 less bench space is annoying, so I decided to take it in. The 1 Bunnelby for the mirror match, so I can dump the items back into my deck if I needed to. I didn't use it that much. I actually mainly used it when I was against Sylveon, so I can put the energy back. I used it once when I was against the Espeon Garb as well, but overall I didn't use it that much. And 1 Azelf. I didn't use this at all. I decided to use this instead of the promo Tapu Koko, mainly because this one only needs the 1 energy, and Tapu Koko needs the DCE. Tapu Koko does have the free retreat, which I think would probably be a lot more helpful throughout the day. There was some times where I needed to retreat and I couldn't after they killed something. So I'd either completely take this out or put in Tapu Koko. I didn't see a single Gyarados either, so this wasn't really used much at all. That's the Pokemon line. I can't do that at all. For the supporters, I've got 4 Sycamores. Sycamore, just aggressive draw power through the deck, find what I need. I'll play 3N. I was wanting to maybe go to a fourth one, but three's really strong. It helps with the mirror match. I've seen a lot of people going 3 and 4 now, 3 or 4. But 3 worked really well. I saw it like plenty of times throughout the event, and it also helps in the Sylvia matchup as well. But 3 seems fine. I play 3 Lysander. The 3 Lysander, I decided to up the count because I usually found Lysander really helpful. It wins me a lot of games as well. So I wanted to try out going to a third one, see how it does. I did see it a lot of times when I needed it. The third one really did come in handy. So I did like 3 count in this one. The 1 Bridget, Lele, Bridget, get like say 2 Trubbish and a Drampa for example. It got me a Sudowoodo a lot. It probably one of like the best turn 1 plays I've had in all the tournaments. With Bridget being able to get that setup, it's just so strong. Play the 1 Hex. It's good to have. Helps with the Greninja matchup. It helps get your Floatstone onto Garbotoxin in the Situai matchup. And even just hexing turn 1, if you don't need to bridge it, really hinders the opponent as well. It means they can't Tapu Lele their turn, slowing them down by a turn, which really can make a difference. And the 1 Delinquent. I teched in the Delinquent as I don't play any stadiums, so I used it mainly as a way to get rid of the opponent's stadium and to force them to discard, which sometimes they had to discard a lot of items from it. That's the support account. For the items, I play 4 Ultra Ball, searches what I need. Very good card. Still wouldn't cut it. 4 VS Seeker. I've seen people starting to cut this down to 3. I still like it at 4. It's extremely strong card. I find most of the time when I'm VS Seeker in for a supporter, it's a supporter I really, really need anyway. So I tend to find that VS Seeker is worth playing, even in the guard matchup, because a lot of times it does help a lot the supporter you're looking for. 4 Floatstones. I do not play Stadium Altar of the Moon. This is my only way to retreat. It's good to have it on Garbotoxin as well. Floatstone was very, very useful throughout the entire day because I don't play the Altar of the Moon. I could cut 1 or 2 for Altar of the Moon, but I really like the 4 Floatstones. It came in super handy most of the time throughout the day. I might test it out at some point, but I might go away from the Guard Drampa deck. In general, I feel like playing around with some different decks in this format. And 3 Choice Band. Choice Band is so good. It just makes you hit such high numbers now. The 30 extra damage. There's a bit better than that. It's just an extremely good card. It makes Drampa hit for 180, able to one-shot other Drampas, one-shot Tauros, things like that. So, I'm not sure if I would want to take this up to 4. There's been times where I've wanted to see it in the mirror and the guard matchup, but I wasn't able to find it. And there's also been times where I'm looking for it against like Ninetales and stuff, but I might put it up to 4. I'm not sure. I play 2 Field Blower, just disruption, gets rid of tools, gets rid of stadiums as well, like Delinquent. That way. Well, Delinquent gets rid of stadiums. This gets rid of tools and stadiums. But gets rid of the Choice Bands, gets rid of Floatstones. Really good card. And also puts the items into the discard for more damage for Garb. I've timed it once where I used the Field Blower to put enough items into the discard so I can start one-shotting as well. 1 Rescue Stretcher and 1 Super Rod. These 2 I didn't use too much. A lot of times I didn't find I didn't need to really use the first effect of Rescue Stretcher that much. So I used to play 2. I've put it down to 1, but overall, I know it's useful and like in general, but throughout the weekend, I didn't really see much use of these. But good cards, like I know if I take it out, I'll be like, oh, I really need to use it again. I play 5 of the Psychic Energies, 4 DCEs, and 2 Rainbow Energies. I decided to go the Rainbow Energy route instead because I didn't want to play Magma Base because I felt like if I got the mirror match, the Magma Base would just help the opponent as well. So I wanted to just go the Rainbow Energy and see and use that to get the damage counters on my bench for Drampa. I was thinking about playing 3, but with Drampa being able to knock this away and Sylveon playing like quite a few enhanced hammers, I decided to go down to 2. There has been a lot of times where I needed to hunt for 1 and couldn't find it because say 1 was prized and wasn't able to basically go for game because of it. I might put this up to 3 instead, but I might look into it if I want to continue playing the deck. But until then, I think the first cut would be Azelf, depending on how popular Gyarados stays. It just won Birmingham Regionals, if I'm right. So it might still see popularity, but I was really surprised Gyarados was so popular. Like it managed to make it that far with Tapu Koko being out now as well. Guess people aren't really taking in Tapu Koko. They thought they wouldn't need it because Gyarados players might be too scared to play Gyarados. So that's my thoughts of the deck. I'll go through the matchups that I played the weekend as well and go through what happened. So round 1, I went against Lorantis Bulu. I won game 1. He only had a Lele, and he couldn't get another basic after ending 2 times. So I managed to attack him really and knock out his only Lele. Wasn't much he could do in that one. But the other 2 games he got set up without needing much items. Managed to get Lorantis set up before I could get anything to start hitting. When I did, he would just GX attack me for knockout most of the time. So I lost the next 2 rounds like that. Round 2, I was against Sylveon Bunnelby. Sylveon Bunnelby is an extremely annoying matchup. It just kept Flare Grunting, Enhance Hammering, and stuff. Kept stopping me getting energy into the Drampa, and kept Bunnelby in, putting items back into the deck, so I couldn't attack with Drampa either. Just a really annoying matchup, and ended up losing the first game, and second game went to time, which I couldn't finish him off in that one. So Sylveon was a really tough matchup for that one. Game 3 was against Decidueye. This was the Ninetales Deciplume deck. This one, he didn't like the Garb matchup. He struggled to set up with playing as few items as possible. I had a Drampa set up, so he struggled to just out damage me in general. And I managed to set up the Garbotoxin, and he couldn't really do anything after that. 1-2-0 in that one. One of Garb's probably strong matchups, the Deciplume. Game 4 was Golisopod, Lorantis, Drampa. This guy came like just as he wanted to. He said that he was coming along, like just playing like a joke deck to try to mess around. It was okay, but whenever he DCE'd, I would just knock it off with Drampa on the Golisopod. he played so many items as well that the Garbodor started one hitting the Lurantis as well. So I'm not sure if he needed to go through the deck that much. Like, he played multiple trainers mail and everything to try to get the setup himself. But if you play a lot of items in one turn, Garb's just gonna sit there waiting to hit you. So I got 2-1 on that one. Round 5, I was against the Espeon Garb. This one was probably one of my tougher ones to win. I had to play around the Espeon's confusion so much. He never really managed to use it against me. I always tried to use switch around the attackers of who was attacking. So I managed. So from that, I was able to avoid his confusion. Also, game 1, I hexed my turn 1, so he couldn't energy evolve the Eevee. It really set him back a turn, because next turn he drew DCE to attach to an Eevee, and it forced him to play 4th energy on Espeon just to evolve. I think that was the main reason that I won that one. There's just the turn 1 hex. Just gave me basically an extra turn to set up the Drampa to start hitting. Game 2, this was probably one of my favorite plays. He started off with the Eevee attached energy to get the Espeon. And then when it was my turn, I had the Trubbish. I choice band attached energy and managed to Acid Spray for 80. At this, he's already Sycamored his turn and had 3 items in discard. And I got the discard on the Espeon energy as well. And afterwards, when it was his turn, he kind of just thought that the Espeon was just going to die, and he just started setting up a second Espeon, which means it took him back a turn, and I managed to get a prize on top. So Trubbish was MVP game 2, and it's not often Trubbish manages to Acid Spray for 80. It was quite amusing now when I say Acid Spray for 80, just the people around me just turning with their heads to look at what was going on. That was probably... it was still one of the tough matchups. It was really hard to play around the Espeon. Round 6, I end up going against the Psychic Ray. Game 1, I got the Sudowoodo out with Bridget. He looked super annoyed at that point because he just lost last round because of Sudowoodo. I won game 1 quite easily because of that. Game 2, whenever I had a counter to what he was doing, he was able to take that away. I got the Sudowoodo out. He Lysander killed it. I made Garbotoxin. He Field Blowered it away. I brought back the Sudowoodo when I Super Rodded, and by that point he was 1 prize away, so he was just 1 knockout, and that would have been game. Just a rough match that one. He just always had an answer. And game 3, I was 1 prize away, but he just took out my last attacker. This was during time, so I don't know if I would have been able to win it if it didn't reach time. I did have the Sudowoodo out, so I'm not 100% sure of how that would have went. Could have went either way, so that draw wasn't that bad. Round 7, I was against the Tauros Garbodor. This one, I went 2-0 again. I can't remember everything that kind of went in this matchup. I just remembered I just remembered one of them was I had to go through so many items to look for certain stuff to be able to try to fight back. I remember winning it because of Lysander. Lysander out Lele, forcing him to DCE retreat, and I got the Lysander again to Lysander Lele out after ending him to 1 in previous turn, so he didn't really have much resources. So that's one reasons I felt like the Lysander was a really good call. It brought things out. It's such a strong card as well. I did make a misplay. I used Grandpa's GX attack. Can't remember its name now. Let's see. The Big Wheel GX really early on because I didn't really have much of a hand. And a few turns later, I forgot I GX'd. That was the first time I GX'd all day as well. So that was the first time I GX'd attacked. And I thought in my head, I'll attach a Rainbow Energy to Lele. And I'll use that GX attack to heal the Drampa that he already hit for 120. After that, I was attached DCE, and then I looked at my board and noticed that I've already GX, so that plan went out the window. Luckily, he couldn't kill that Drampa that had the 120, and I was able to retreat the Lele into the Drampa, attach a Rainbow Energy, and he wasn't able to finish off that Drampa, so that Drampa I had it since the start managed to win me that game basically. Probably could have played it safer by attaching to a second Drampa, but things happen. Round 8 was, I think this point I was 4-1. If I won the next 2, I might have been able to reach top 64. If I won the next 2, I definitely would have made top 64. And I might have been able to reach top 32. I remember that's what my thought process was going into the last 2 rounds. The next one was against Ninetales. He already knew what I was playing. He was always sitting around where I was, like all day. But like I've chatted to him like during games and stuff like. So he knew what I was playing. I knew what he was playing. So and we finally went against each other. He was playing Ninetales and I was playing Garb. I knew this was going to be a really tough matchup. At this point, I thought if I drew one and won the next one, I would be able to reach top 64, which turns out I was wrong. There was a lot of players, so the top 64 cut needed more points. But I wasn't sure on that, so I offered him the ID, but he was going for top 32. He won game 1 quite easily. Garb Drampa really struggles against Ninetales. Round 2, I managed to get him to use his GX attack early on my Drampa to put 150 counters on me, at which point I attached a choice band and hit him for 180. It meant playing against Ninetales, you have to play around the GX so much, and as soon as you force them to use it, it frees up so much room for you to make certain plays. So being able to get that out early was really good, and that kind of won me the game. I was able to take out the Ninetales with Drampa before he was able to like snipe off too many things in the back. So that won me game 2. Game 3, the 2 games lasted a while. We had like 10 minutes left of game 3. We started it, tried to play it out, but I was left on 4 prizes. He was left on 5. I wasn't able to take out any Ninetales in my 1 turn because he got turn 1. So we both just ended up drawing. It meant both of us couldn't make day 2 that way, but hey. Last round was against Sylveon Bunnelby. Every time that I tried to set up a Drampa, he would always have a Flare Grunt ready. But it was really annoying, and he kept using Bunnelby just to put those enhanced hammers VS Seekers back so Drampador wouldn't do any damage either. And it just got really, really annoying throughout the day. And I ended up losing that one 1-0 as well. I can't remember the final placement. I think it was 132. Going 4-3-2 has been my best record at regional so far. Second was Liverpool when I played Dark Dragons, going 4-4-1, and Sheffield was my worst one, going 3-3-3. Sheffield was not a good day for me. I just got some bad matchups and just kind of got a bit tilted after that. I saw the Volcanion in Sheffield, and it's getting that win really helped me get back in the spirit to try to do well, kind of thing. But overall, it was a really good day. I wish it wasn't late to the event, so I had enough time, so I would have had time to kind of look around a bit, like scout out the place, see what was being played. Maybe I would have went Sylveon, but overall, Guard Drampa, it's a good deck, but I want to try out some other decks. I might try to build up Lycanroc. That looks like a fun deck to play around with as well. But anyway, that's the tournament report for regionals, and guess I'll see you guys next time.